Right, this is going to be episode 60 of Counterpoints, and as the show obviously approaches old age and inevitable death and decay, I thought, what better theme to discuss than the death of the camaraderie of a group of people who were colleagues/friends, all now spread to the four corners of the earth, with only Moses. That's right, in the end, it's like that TV show Survivor that your culture loves, Semler.
Yeah.
Where it's not always the best person who wins Survivor. It's usually the sneakiest little cunt who sort of like made the best, relationships with people, fucked over the right person at the right time, Eventually, they usually even have to fuck over some of their friends. But in the end, they win. And therefore, that is all that matters in American culture. So congratulations to Moses, the only person who's still doing all the events, But,
What do you think of the pie bets, DK? You a fan of the pie bets?
Well, what was going to happen if you didn't get it right? Like, was that part of the bet?
Then
like, what
I
would you get?
Hit him with
Yeah. What's wrong with that?
I've
never been pied in the face. So
DK, if
It's
any of
exhilarating.
the 15 other teams, including teams that at the time Anders made the bet, were significantly much more favoured to win the major, such as SK Gaming, Virtus Pro, and by the way, Virtus Pro, almost did win the game. If any of these 15 teams had won the major, and Moses, imagine this visual, because you'll never see it happen in real life, Moses would have gotten to take a pie in his hand, not his face, and throw it into someone else's face. Now imagine that. That would be the end of the simulation, probably. Like, that's like, like video games where you can break it by trying to do something and it just like crashes the game, and overwrites all the code. That'd probably be like, as you threw the pie, it would just release like endogenous DMT in all of our brains and send us into fucking hyperspace where we'd meet in the fucking Bardo with, not the Bardolph, we'd never meet inside a Bardolph. That's a classic mistake that people have made before. But meet in the Bardo. Yes. In DDK. Anyway, so
was permanently on DMT, yes.
Yeah, I know, and has met in a Bardo. Anyway, so meeting in the Bardo, where we could meet all of the departed souls of the human race. All the favourites. You've got Hitler. You've got Chuck Berry. I believe he's dead. Who else?
Seth
Okay.
Riggs. Oh, shit.
We've got to make... Wait a minute, though. But if we met him, he could tell us why he was killed. Oh, God. Exactly.
Yeah. How would you go about this regressive therapy?
Maybe the casters need to hire a sports psychologist. Maybe that's what we need.
God, yes.
Maybe marriage counselling.
Sports psychologist, just anything at this point. Anything to keep everyone sane. That would be
It's that or drugs.
Sexual therapy with Dosia. Back to that again.
I'd hire Doja for sexual therapy. That'd be great. That's some content right there.
He does charge $150 an hour, and you have to wear a condom.
It's the way you couldn't even get it out.
Because here's the thing. He doesn't want to have to start taking blue pills. Either of them. Viagra or the other one. Anyway. Imagine that. That is the most horrifically scary thought of all time. Dosia welcomes you in for your sexual therapy, and he's just guzzling Viagra. That is outrageous. That's outrageous. That's absolutely outrageous, isn't it? And he's just got that little smile on his face. Because have you noticed, by the way, I said this on Twitter, it's true. To this day, he's the most mysterious Counter-Strike player I think I've ever heard of. No one's ever even heard him talk or anything. He just smiles and embraces a meme of sexual virulence. I don't even know what that is. Who is he? How the fuck's he won a major now? What is this?
Let me have a look then. What else did we have here?
What else did we want to shit talk?
Is it shit talk? Like, I just...
No.
Let's go. Let's go for the next one.
I mean, every single time that I'm on a show, I guess it just becomes flame at some point.
Yeah.
I don't know what's wrong with me.
No, it's also, I know why though, Dom. It's also because I have the same issue. It's because you just never hear people talk that way on any of the other broadcasts and shows. So you just find yourself thinking like, this is what is everyone just going to pretend Nemesis was fine? Like, it's all fanatic lost the game, did they? Like, I hate when they do that. It makes you want to just go nuts. So unfortunately, then you seem like you're the one who's out of pocket every time. Where it's like, no, I just don't want to. Am I living in a crazy world here? Like, is it? Are you guys going to pretend the world's black and white and I'm just seeing it all in color? What is this?
I don't know. That team looks like they're in the struggle. You look at every other team, they win. Their setups look nice. You look at like Vitality's setup, it looks clean. It's like, damn, I would like to live there. They've got like a bar and shit. Then you look at fucking Excel's setup when they win games, and they're in a fucking jail cell. Like they don't have windows. Like it's just pathetic to look at. It's like, damn, maybe that's the motivation they need. Like they're like literally in prison right now.
That light just goes off. Is that right? Lights out, 10 o'clock. That's the end of the LEC.
And I feel like Caps, ever since he changed his role to bot lane, I feel like he talks to me way more. And not even like in game-wise, but also in game-wise. Like I feel like he actually wants to play with jungle more. Because when he was playing mid lane, he would be very... selfish, but also like selfless. Like he would not mind us pathing away from him, and that is why also like some of the FPX games looked very tough, because instead of us challenging them 3v3 mid lane for that middle priority, would just pick champions that could roam and like maybe like match the roaming, but we couldn't really match like the skirmishes, and then they would just get out of control. And I feel like right now Capson is trying to like talk to me a lot about like bot waves, about how he wants me to play around bot lane with him being the bot laner, about like how he overall approaches the game. So
now he's a real ADC. Like, he's already complaining, trying to manage the jungler all the time, telling him what waves to come down on. He's an ADC. Finally, there we go.
I do agree. I think that jungle is actually really good. I think he probably will get Rookie of the Split. I think he has been like playing very well, and I think he's similar to Selfmade, like Veteran explained. I think he's like pretty smart about like where to be on the map, but at the same time, I feel like they only play around mid lane, and if Fabi and Razor, right, are behind, then it's like very hard for them to play the game. And I just feel like all the players are like not exceptionally skilled. So even though they play a very solid game, and it's a pleasant surprise for me, because before the split started, I would say they would be like really trash. I think they are like pretty good, but just pretty good is not enough to like contest high places in playoffs. So I think they are a solid team, you know. I think they could maybe like fight for like top 2 in NA, for example, where Cloud9 is don't play the
game.
Way
he's doing all backhanded compliments non-stop.
but I just don't think it will be enough to like secure like a top 4 to 5 position in Europe, because we just have a lot of like good teams.
Like, first of all, Misfits did beat G2, so I don't know why you're pretending like you don't even know the jungle. Let me check my notes there. This Razor K, whoever he is, never heard of him personally.
I actually didn't know his name.
Okay.
And then he just destroyed me when he was playing Echo. So, but that game my AD carry also went 0-7. So that's
exactly.
Oh god,
I personally always like the people that I don't know to win, because I think it's more exciting, and I get really genuinely a lot more excited about it. Because if I see, for example, like Artur or Zai win a tournament, I know that they've won before, they're going to win again sometime in their career. But for example, at Boston Major, when I saw Mouse Sports, I didn't really know any of those guys too well, but it was just exciting to watch. Like, it was so fun watching them get as far as they did. Same with this year's TI. When I saw Newbie and both the LGD teams go as well as they did, I've never talked to DDC a day in my life, but he's one of those guys who's attended every single TI. For him to get top 4, I was so happy about that. When it comes to, like, the weird thing, by the way, when you mention that is, like, anytime a Western team gets knocked out, they only root for the Chinese teams. Like, they don't want a Western team to win that TI.
Listen, there's a lot of haters out there within domestic and national scenes. That's not common to Dota, I can tell you that much. No matter what people say in interviews, by the way. Like, obviously in the interview you say, no, I'm going to pull for the other guys from my region now. Secretly, you just go, I hope they don't fucking place above me. Let's all fail together, Okay. Yeah. Okay, so to tie into what you were saying there, Blitz, about like your philosophy on how to play the game, and if teams don't play that way, while I realise I am a bit of an outlier in as much as whenever I do analysis work or have done a commentary, I'm obviously not going for like popularity. That's kind of my entire thing. I'm kind of going like the anti-charisma route, and people are entirely allowed to view me as a villain and think that I'm full of shit. I've kind of in a weird way I've avoided this backlash issue by building the backlash into it's almost at this point it's almost praise for me. Like
Thorin, do you intentionally bait community like popular teams versus what you would think is true sometimes just for the conversation?
No, here's the thing. That's one element that I will say. I don't like sit around and kind of think of what would piss people off. But what I'll say is this. Let's say I legitimately am criticizing a team because I don't think they played the right way, or I think, for example, they won and they were like a little bit fortunate, If I then know also that fan base gets super easily triggered,
or I think it would just be funny and entertaining.
You're going
I will
further.
I'll just express it. I'll put a little bit more mustard on the hot dog, is what I always say. Like I will,
and start applying for other jobs, and that's kind of how I ended up at the Daily Dot and positioned where I am now. Which, as you say, it's a bit weird. I've never put too much stock in the whole game of popularity. I find it to be a false economy for the most part, but certainly, hell, I'm verified on Twitter now, Duncan. So
I don't even know how one does that. See, that's already like futuristic technology to me. I'm like a tribesman who've just seen a camera or something. I don't have any idea what this does. You might have magic though, yeah. I work hard to make sure I get mine, but no one can do it all on their own. And that's why everyone needs a support group. And so I have my Patreon community. Do you want to suggest a topic or a guest for my content? Maybe you want to ask a question in one of these monthly AMAs. Do you want teasers, find out who the upcoming guests are? Or maybe you want to take part in one of those long discussions where you can help set the table of the topics and join in with other like-minded people. Well, if so, put your money where your mouth is and join the Skrilluminati today via the Patreon link below, as the following people who I very much appreciate did: Matt Pugnatio Rajcula, Ahmed Hadjou, Kyle, Bot Pounder 420, Tooorin, Animosity, Tobias Bernasconi, Jensen Goh, Tosh, and always, you know it, a special thanks goes out to Jerky's Minion.